Hey everybody, and welcome back to this video where I'm going to be going to the next step of creating my app Tribu, the social media app with AI infusion. So in the previous videos we've focused mostly on the front end stuff and looking at how the AI is going to work in N8N and setting up the different parts of our stack. In this video I want to look at creating data, users and posts in Pocketbase. So I'm going to try to go as quick as I can to show this part and get to move on to the more meaty stuff with AI maybe in a future video, I hope. But so what I want to do today is be able to click on the post to bring up our post screen, which is here, to add a new post, something like this, and then for it to appear in Pocketbase and to be registered to that user who created that post. So we'll get to the part afterwards where creating a new post will of course put it into our vector database for it to be searchable by the AI. But for this video, let's just focus on getting it set up with a permanent backend like Pocketbase or whatever backend you would use if you were doing this project. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is import my fledgling prefab for Pocketbase. So I have a Pocketbase prefab that I've made into a project that I've pushed to GitHub, so you can download it. I'll put a link in the video description, and I'll keep updating it and improving on it. Essentially what it's going to have is create, update, delete nodes for Pocketbase, as well as sign up and login nodes as well. So if you want to use this for the moment before I get it into the real prefab, Bible that is the part of the node picker in Noodle, I've got it just as a project that you can download and import. So just download it from GitHub, open it as a project. As long as it's in here, then you can access it in your main project by going into the project, going import from project, and then choosing your Pocketbase prefab one or whatever I use, for example, Directus as well. So I import stuff from Directus too. So we're going to import the Pocketbase part, so the Pocketbase folder, which also in this it has to include N8N because I'm using N8N as a sign-up node. So I've put in the prefab the sign-up node is linked to N8N. You could swap this out and use it with whatever you want. It's just that the sign-up for me, it exposes, it doesn't have to expose the admin key like username and password, but it exposes a username and password combination for Pocketbase or an API key that's going to permit somebody to create users if they want to. What's the big deal creating a user? But I just, for security, don't want to have somebody have easy access to be able to create users. Even though they still will be able to, if they call the N8N workflow, they will be able to, but at least I can kind of control it through N8N and say, maybe test the IP address. If they've already created one user, then don't let them create another one or something like that. Track a little bit better what's happening with signups. So Pocketbase and N8N, scroll all the way to the bottom, import. We're going to overwrite that. Yes. So it'll ask you if you want to overwrite things that you already have in your project that you might have already imported from somewhere else. So in global logic components, I now have a whole Pocketbase library of stuff. So let's get our dude signed in. At the moment, we're not signed in at all. So let's maybe create a new page. I know I said before we're going to do a lot of this through the component stack, but I think having a page with a component stack that's uniquely logged in elements, and maybe we'll put a wall up and say you have to sign in or sign up or log in to get into this app. So I'd like to have that on a separate page because it feels like it's easier to protect against people accidentally maliciously going in and having a look at things when they're not logged in. So let's create a page called sign up. We'll do sign up and login in the same page. We'll make a component stack. We're going to call this component stack something different. We don't want it to be the same as the one that's in the main page. So we're going to call this sign up. We can use roots for this as well. We're going to have a login component and a sign up component. Now you don't have to do it this way. In other apps, I haven't created two separate components for login and sign up. In other apps, I've created one component that's a login/sign up component, where depending on the state of the component, it equals what it does. So if you've put it in sign up state, then it'll run a sign up workflow. If the button at the bottom is the same button for both. And you could argue that that's actually better because it's using less resources, or like if your sign up and login look very similar, then that's arguably a better way to do it. But I'll see that if I think I've made a mistake, maybe I'll go back and change it, but I think I can also do this in a clever way. So we're going to make 2 visual components, one called sign up and one called login. They're going to be the equivalent, they're going to be the components in the component stack. So login and sign up. And then what we want to do is, we're going to have it with login. No, hold on a second. No, maybe if component stack isn't the best way to go, because I'm just thinking to switch between components, I'm going to have to use the buttons inside these components to switch out. But yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt. I'm not going to do component stacks. I'm not going to go do component stacks. I'm going to do one component for I'm going to do one component for a sign up form, maybe. No, we're going to make one component. Forget about it. Sign up is going to have one component. So let's just start building that. Go to the sign up page and see what that looks like. At the moment it should be blank. We're going to make a group in the middle that's going to have inputs. So we're going to have one input for email, one input for password. Oh, hang on. Change this to type email for the validation. Change this to type password as well. So password. And then we're going to have a confirm password that'll only be visible if we're in the sign up state. You could argue that it's not necessary, and like Pocketbase, for example, has one, what is it called? The one link login thing where you can get a link sent from Pocketbase to their email that has the token that they need to log in, so they don't actually have to have a password anymore. But I'm going to go classic with this one. I'm going to go old school. We're just going to have password and confirm password. Okay, and then we're also going to need first name for an input. Now just copy paste. We're going to need a first name and a last name input as well. Last name. And these both have to be text. And I'm not going to do the whole thing of like, what are you interested in? Because in theory that should be handled by the AI. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to figure it out. Right, so let's tidy this up because it looks like crap. We're going to make this max width. No, what are we going to do? No, we're going to give it some padding. And then we're going to give it a max width of 500. So just in case somebody logs in on desktop, it still looks nice. And we are going to center this guy. We're going to give it content height. We're going to give it a title, which is a text, of course. And that title is going to be initially sign up, but we'll change it later. Something else. Make it a title. We are going to, I copy pasted them all with the labels. Dang it. I don't like labels on inputs. I just don't like them. So let's take it off. Where am I? Am I going crazy? Where's the label? Text label. Hello. Oh, it's a text. Label off. I wish I could like highlight multiple ones and then turn the label off for all of them, but add it to the wish list. Contribute to the Low Code Foundation. If you donate today, your donation can help us to fund development to make things like this possible. So check the link in the description for the Low Code Foundation, and our only job is to fund development in the OpenNoodl project. That's all we spend money on. So if you donate, that's where it'll go. Alrighty, this still looks like crap. So let's make that 10, and let's make that say email, because if it doesn't have the right placeholder, it's nobody's ever gonna know what it is. No, that's not what that is. You'll see this all start to make sense soon. Button at the bottom. Do we have any button styles? Yes, we do. Okay, it's crap color, but whatever. We'll change that later. All right, so what we're going to do now is add states that we need. So the initial state is always going to be sign up. No, login. Sign up is a weird, yeah. I guess we're going to assume that people are going to want to log in when they come for the first time. We'll leave transitions on just in case we might have some cool stuff to transition to. We're going to have a button label value. We're going to have a, that's all right now. Oh no, title text. Alrighty, there are 2 strings. So when we're in sign up mode, it's going to be sign up. Oops. Sign up. And when it's login, it's going to be login and login. We hook these up. Title text to text. And button text to button label. And then we're going to have a little text below here that says don't have an account, sign up. We're going to make this clickable. And then if it's clicked, it's going to cycle the states. And of course, when it cycles it, we're going to need a bottom text. And the bottom text is going to be already have an account, log in. Don't have an account, sign up. And that is going to go here. And then, ta-da. Okay, last piece of the puzzle. We don't need a first name and a last name input unless we're at sign up. So we're going to mount that, and we're going to mount that at sign up. So whenever it's at that sign up state, that's when it's mounted, never otherwise. And confirm password, same deal. At sign up, it's mounted. There we go. So that's good. If we cycle, look at that, cool. Sign up, login. And now we need to work on the workflow. So we're going to use the sign up Pocketbase. You'll see that there's a sign up node. That's only if you're using Parse Server or the Noodle cloud service. Those two have a native integration with Noodle nodes that are already in Noodle, which we might have one day for other services. I'm really hoping we do, that you can install a module and it'll put read-write data in with Pocketbase and with other backends. But right now, the green ones that come out of the box with Noodle are only for either Parse Server or Noodle Cloud Service, which is just a modified Parse Server. So we're going to use Pocketbase signup and Pocketbase login. Okie dokie. Now we need to have a look at that. Yeah, password, email, okay. So we need to put in the email as an input to that. If you want to make your own one, all I've done is just used a Pocketbase function for login and put in email and password as inputs. So it's not rocket science. And this one is the password. And then for the sign up, I've got to put in the email and also the password. I didn't put in first name and last name, but I'm not going to do it right now, am I? No. Yes, I will. So we'll do password, and then confirm password will just be a function that checks if the password is the same, and if they're not, then it won't let the workflow continue. And then we need a condition. I mean, you can use an expression here. I just like using condition nodes sometimes. So if it is at sign up, that's the condition. So we'll rename that so we know what it's doing. If it's at sign up and we click the button, then at sign up will go to the sign up node. And if it's not at sign up, it must be at login. So it's going to go to the login node on false. It goes to the login node. And so that is a sign up and login system, I think. Oh yeah, I wanted to put in the first and last names. So we're going to go into our sign up node, which is an N8N template. So these N8N templates, what you need to do is the sign up one from here what I've done is put the initn code that you need to copy paste into initn. So if you copy all the stuff that's in here, just raw copy, and put it into here, then you will see this appear. If you copy paste, then this will appear. So we want more than this. We want also first name and last name. We have to put that in there as well. First name and last name. That will just go straight to initn, and then the first name and last name inputs are going here. So we pipe our first name into there, pipe our last name into there. Bingo. Okay, so now we're going to be able to sign up and log in, which is great. We will test it, but I would like to test it another time because we're running out of time and I really want to get all the things in. So just assume that it works, which never happens and never will happen in any development project in the world ever, because at the moment my initn workflow, for example, doesn't have a first name and last name, so I need to put that in here, and that will come from the same source as the email does. So that'll be first name, and you know, it's handy using camel case everywhere, because then you know no matter where you go, you're just going to put the same things in and you will never fail. Even though I haven't received it yet, I know that it will in theory work. So that's good. Save that. So now it'll in theory create somebody in Pocketbase with a first name and last name, only that they don't have first name and last name. Oh, they do. I already put it in. I'm a genius. So there you go. It's all hooked up, ready to go. Just assume it works. So we can move on to our new post. Yeah, so we need to create an element for that. New post. Alrighty. So our component stack has menu item. No, it's okay. New posts. It's handy to be able to type in, you type in the keyword into the search component search, and it will come up with whatever. That really helps because you're going to end up with so many components in your Noodle project. You really need to use that. So when we click on the new post icon, it's going to navigate in the bottom bar, which is here. And click new post, it's going to navigate to the post. And you can see now we have, we don't have two stacks. I was going to say we have two different stacks, but we don't, because I didn't create the other stack. Had I created the other stack, we would have seen another stack name in here, but I didn't, so I don't have to worry about that. So right now if I push it, there's nothing there. So I need to add some stuff in here. Let's make this a little interior group, and that is going to be following approximately the design of this. So we're going to make a large post area. So this will be our large post area that will be with like a, let's say like with a, right now we'll make it just a really ugly purple outline with, I don't know, it's about 20 quarter radius. Yeah, no, maybe 10, more. Okay. And it's going to be content height, which is going to collapse it for the moment because there's no content. We're going to put in a nice little image group. I like putting images in groups just to keep them under control. So this is profile image. I just figured something out. You can click on a node, hit return on the keyboard, and it renames the node. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. That's much faster than what I was doing before. Now we need a text input. We're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to have a long, plain text input with no label, obviously. And it's going to say write something. And it's going to be a text area. What's important about that is then that you can actually return to the new line in the text area, which is what we want. So let's make it 200 high. Could be nice. Yeah, that looks pretty good. 200 high, and the image is going to be, do we have a profile image example? Yeah, we do. Nice. We're going to constrain that to be 50 by 50 pixels. Nice and small. And then we'll have some icons underneath it, but I'll not bother with that right now. The text input needs to be invisible. It comes by default with a border, but because we're actually making a kind of wider text area, we're gonna just, that's it. I would need to move this in a bit. Let me think. Okay, we're going to remove the padding from the text box because I want to do it manually. We want to add padding to this group so that it's kind of global padding. Yeah, that'll be nicer. Again, high on the list of priorities for the Low Code Foundation is making this where I could just click on 10 and it'll go 10 all around for all the padding. We need funding to do these things, so please consider donating to the Low Code Foundation and we'll make all your dreams come true. All your Noodle dreams will come true. Now it's too much. Okay. Nice, looks okay. So now we'll write something and post. So we'll just put a button for the moment that says post. It's gonna be ugly as hell, but I just want to get it done. No, outside the group. Outside that group, and we're gonna give that 20 vertical gap. That looks good. That's a standard button, that sucker, and then post. Nice. Okay, so when we post, then we need Pocketbase to create or update a record template. Don't use the template. I'll show you why. Go to the creator update record template and then duplicate it and make create or update post. So make one for each type of thing that you have. And then within that, you can set your collection names. So set these states, for example, is it capital P or small p? I really need to be a bit more consistent. Is that capital P? Yeah, it's a capital P. Why did I do capital P's? I think somebody once told me that databases tend to have capital letters. Anyway, make this a bit bigger. So we're going to make a post, and there was also profile. And I think I made a file type, which I made a small case, so it doesn't make any sense. I don't make any sense. I don't know why I do the things I do. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to drop our post creator here. Collection is post, and we can actually change that. Sorry, I should have changed the default here. So if I just set up the profile one, then I would change it to profile. Or did I? No, never mind. So now when I want to create a post, I need to know what type of object I'm passing in. So let's look at what fields there are in a post. There's content created by. And then we change these here to content and created by. Hook it up. Don't forget to hook it up. And that should be it. Yep, and we're going to do a create here. So we're doing create, and the record ID we don't need because we're not passing in a record. So when we post, it's going to create a new Pocketbase record. Another important thing we have to do after this is working with the local arrays. So normally what we would have at the moment is a local array full of posts, and that will be what the user's seeing on their screen. And when we create a new post in Pocketbase, we are updating that internal array. That's how I would normally do it. However, I know the Pocketbase does have a live data connection, I think. So I might try out doing the live data connection for the posts so that when a new post comes in, you see it immediately. However, it's also an AI-driven app. So do you really want to have the new post appear? Because what you're actually doing is asking the AI to search for the post that could interest you. So really what you might want to do is click like refresh show me a refreshed list of the most relevant posts from my friends. And then the AI does another search on the database, including new posts that you haven't seen yet, and returns those new posts or the next time you refresh the app. So I'm not sure. I normally would do a thing where we have local data stored in arrays, and then every time there's a new object created, we add that object into the local array so that that user sees their own post appear. And then we have maybe an MQTT server that's serving other posts that are like in my network, for example. But I think what I might do here is do maybe like a Pocketbase live data thing, or just have the AI, give new data when the refresh is requested. So anyway, we're doing post, and we need to have the text to the content, and created by is going to be, I realized something I've forgotten. There is a way to get the current user in Pocketbase, and I don't think I brought it over. Did I? I might not have. Let me have a look. We need a way to get who the current user is. Oh, is it crashed? Crap. Hang on, just restart. Sometimes Noodle crashes, especially OpenNoodl. I'm sorry to say. I don't know what crazy person put this OpenNoodl thing together. It was me. But it sometimes crashes. You just reopen it and it'll be fine. Oh no, or it won't be. Oh no, it is. Oh, careful. So there we go. We checked the auth store. That was the one I'm missing. So let's take this and I'll show you how this works. Should put this in the prefab actually. Silly me. So for Tribu at the app level, where all things happen and through every page, the app level is always visible. So when the app is loaded, mounted, we run a check and that fills in this object. So what is it? It is, oh, and also we have to put in the head code, of course, or else it's not going to work at all. Sorry, last thing you need to do, go into the Noodle prefab, the Pocketbase prefab, and copy this and replace this URL with your URL base to Pocketbase without any slashes or anything after it. And it could just be a local host like mine, or it could be hosted in the cloud, whatever it is. Just replace that there and it'll load your Pocketbase instance into your head code. So I've got a lot of head code already. Okie dokie. And we'll refresh that. And now we have PB. So what is it doing? It's when you log somebody into Pocketbase, it is creating a thing called auth store. So your Pocketbase, the variable that we've set as a global variable, which is PB, which is the Pocketbase SDK, it has a thing called auth store. When you log someone in, the auth store holds their token and the expiry date and stuff like that. So if there is a token and they are authenticated, it'll do a check. Pocketbase will do a check with the token every time the page is loaded. If the authenticated is true, it means that their token is still valid. And so I set that to an object in Noodle called current user. And it means then wherever I put this current user object, for example, in the new post page, so set an object and you'll see current user, because it's at the app level, it's available globally, but it could also be at any page and it would be in theory accessible globally. I don't know if you would get the value globally unless the page is loaded. But yeah, what that means is then the authenticated property of that will be the one, sorry, not the authenticated, there's an ID property, but I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's just ID or object ID. We'll check next time. But that's what we want to pipe into here as the created by. It's going to have the same ID as the user that exists in Pocketbase. So like this ID, for example, it's the ID field. I think it's that field ID. So this ID will be the ID of the current user, and that's what we connect to created by. So then we can record which user created that record, and we'll know who it belongs to basically. So that should enable us to create something in Pocketbase. Again, assume it just works because I don't have any users logged in right now because the login function doesn't work, and we'll test it properly next time. But I just wanted to show how we would get to the point of being able to write something which would then be able to be created in Pocketbase. And then afterwards, of course, we're going to create that in our AI database as well. So we've got our home and post page. And next time we'll work more on how the post gets visible to the user or not, and maybe start getting dug into how we actually store the post in our vector database as an embedded vector series of points that we can access using our "what are you looking for today" search bar. So it's starting to get excited. We've set up the basics. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are a fan of Pocketbase, and so this was useful to you. And like I said, I'll put the link to the Pocketbase prefab in the description of the video, and hopefully you've watched this in a month's time when I've updated it massively and it's got lots of new things in there it's got a lot of more, it's got easier ways, let's say, to get the Pocketbase integrated with your project, and it's a bit raw right now. So hopefully I'll be able to update that soon. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time.